Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today we're looking at a project that I started, well, quite some time ago, and it kind of got put on a back burner. And I was tidying up in my office the other day, and I come across part of it, and I thought I really need to finish that project off so it's actually out of the way. And what it is, it's this little thing here. And what we've got, this is a pad-80. I think they're sold under various other different names and what have you, and it is a super little cheap game system. It's a Nintendo on a chip. These are, when I say they're cheap, they're a few quid. You know, they're under a fiver, well under a fiver. And essentially what you get is, this is about 80 games or so pre-programmed into these things, and we've got everything from classic Nintendo games to some like homebrewy type stuff. I think it's even got Flappy Bird and things like that on this. But your entire console basically is built into that tiny little controller. I think the idea is that it'll go on a keyring, because it has a little place there for a keyring, and it actually has a little torch on it as well. If you switch it on and you push that way, it works as a little torch. But what I thought, the only problem with it is, and it does work, but this controller is horrible. Your direction control, it's like a little thumbstick. You basically push it up for up, pull it down for down, left, slide right, like that. It doesn't feel particularly nice to use. The buttons again themselves, they're okay, but I can see if you're wanting to have a really good game on this, the control's going to get really wearing on you. The other slight issue that I found with this is it's not got particularly good video output. I think that's mainly down to it comes with the most awful AV cable you have ever seen in your life. I mean, it's so thin. The biggest problem with it is it's a 2.5mm jack, not a 3.5mm jack, so I can't even just stick a better one on. I'd have to make one up with a 2.5mm connector on it. But that's not why I really bought this thing. I bought it to see what I could do about modifying it and making it into something a bit better. And with that in mind, and if you've watched my other videos on doing this, like I said, I was doing a little bit of a series on this thing, but as things happen, like I said, it kind of got put on the back burner, and I'm trying to remedy that now. But I did get as far as making that. This is made out of some old timber that I salvaged some time ago. And what we've got a really cheap set of arcade buttons in here. These again, just off eBay. I can't remember entirely off my top of my head, but I don't think they were much more than a tenner for the micro-switched joystick and the buttons. So basically that's as far as I got in the previous videos I'd done on this. I think I made this up and put the buttons in it. I've gone a little bit further. Since I did that, I've actually got as far as actually putting the AV connectors on the back and a power button. So we've got a composite, and then we've got left-right audio. It will be pseudo stereo. This little thing, as far as I'm aware, in fact I'm pretty sure the Nintendo, it only outputs a mono signal. So we'll just pair the two together, so it it runs both speakers in a TV set, but it'll just be mono coming out of the both of them. But it's better than it just coming out of one side like the cable that you got with that does. I'll show you in the back. As you can see, I've not really done anything apart from, like I said, I've mounted that in the back there, and I've mounted the power source. Now, the original little MyPad, it runs on a little AAA 1.5 volt AAA battery there. That's what powers it. Now, as I want this, I decided I was thinking about modifying it and running it so I could use like USB or a USB charger or something like that. But the thing is that it runs for hours and hours and hours off that little AAA battery. So what I've done is I fitted a D-cell. So I just took a D-cell holder and stuck it to the inside of the cabinet there. So that'll provide exactly the same 1.5 volts as the original AAA. But obviously you've got a huge capacity compared with that. So I mean, you could leave this thing switched on for hours and hours and hours, and you're not going to deplete that battery. And it just gives you that added advantages. The only thing you need to do is, like the original, is just hook your AV cable into the back of it, plug it into the TV set, switch on and go. So that is basically as far as I've got so far. So what I thought we'd have a quick squiz at today in this video is taking this thing apart. I think we've taken it apart once already, but I haven't taken this apart for well over 12 months. We'll take it apart and see what we actually need to do to separate the bits of this that we actually want from the bits that we don't want, because like I said, we don't want to really use any of these buttons, but we are going to have to identify where they connect into the main circuit so we can connect them up to the buttons we've actually got in the box there. So I think that first thing we'll do, I'll get you down on the bench and we'll open that thing up and have a quick squiz inside it and see what we're working with. So back in a sec. Okay, there we go. We've got you zoomed down onto the actual piece we're going to be playing with. I managed to find my my little tidy screwdrivers. Hopefully these are going. In fact, that's not even small enough. I can't even get in the. What can it? It does go. And I don't really mind if I muller up the case because we're not going to be using this case. But you do need a very small screwdriver to undo these. That's just about doable with that one. I'm going to pop the battery out and get the rest of the back of this off. I think I might have not actually bothered putting the screw back in there last time we had this thing apart. It doesn't feel like there's actually a screw in there. We'll check that one's all the way out. Yes, it is. And this is like the cheapest, nastiest, well, what? I've just scratched. You know, it's really cheap, nasty, just sprayed plastic, this. But like I said, it's so cheap. It was fun to get just to play about with like this. That's still not coming apart. I've got all that screw out. I think I have. I don't want to get too medieval on it because I do actually want, you know, obviously to use the board out of it. Well, it wouldn't be the end of the world. We could just buy another one, but there we go. I think that's it. There's something else holding it. I don't know what. Definitely feels like there's something down there holding it. I think I've got all them screws out. It's just be a clip or something. Either that or I've missed a screw. Definitely didn't feel like there was a screw in there. Nope. The annoying thing is I've been in this before. I've done like a mini teardown on this unit, so I know it comes apart. For some reason it won't come apart now. Why? because I don't want to prise too much around there, because I don't want to risk breaking the actual board inside, because that's what I... There we go, we're out. Oh, there was a screw in that hole, it just wouldn't undo for some reason. Not that it matters, it doesn't matter a jot. Like I said, we're not really interested in... perhaps the top of it, the head of it was mullered, that's why it won't unscrew, because it still won't unscrew now. But it's not going to cause us a problem. Let's take... see if we can get the board out. Where are my glasses? That's better. I've just got a couple of screws to undo on here and then we can get the board out. One there. I think that's all of them. Alright, so we have to pop, there we go, pop that off there. And discard, keep the button for now. Yeah, basically that's it. So there's our buttons. In fact, they should be really easy to connect to. I'm hoping one side of them is all common together as well, because if it is, that's brilliant. That'll make life a lot easier for us. In fact, let's find that out. So we can get this. So we're not actually going to be using these buttons. We just want to solder onto where they actually are, if you know what I mean. We'll get that out of the way. It should be fairly easy actually, looking at this, to solder to those. And basically what we're going, let me see if I can zoom you in. Oops, wrong way. Right, there we go. So basically what we're going to do to get the 4 buttons on the new controller to work is we'll just solder. In fact, we mightn't even have to do that. If one side of them is all commoned up, which is a very good chance it is, we'll just be able to take one common from one place and then 1, 2, 3, 4 wires, and we can replicate that on the buttons in the back of the new box. In fact, let's just find the test leads and we'll have a quick check and see what we get when we have a look at that. I've got some test leads. I'll just quickly pinch these. Not ideal, but they'll do. Stick these in here. Switch that on. I think this has got an audible test on it. We'll see in a second. No, it doesn't. That meter doesn't have a buzz on it. I'll put the meter there so you can see it. Right. So hopefully, these aren't the most ideal of clip leads, but I can't find what I've done with my probes. If I touch there, just try. No. So, have we got something there? Yeah. Again, yeah. Don't look like we've got... Oh, there we go. There it is. So basically, yeah, I will go around that properly with the meter with an actual continuity buzzer on it. But it does look like one side of them buttons there is all commoned up. So I'll probably have to run one wire as the common, and then 4 wires off each switch. That should be nice and easy to do. That blob you've got there, that's actually the Nintendo. The Nintendo on the chip is under that blob of epoxy there. And that IC there, that's your flash RAM. That's basically got all the games on it on that one flash RAM chip there. It's so simple. That, and apart from that, you've got a clock crystal, a couple of capacitors, what I think is probably a little boost converter for DC to DC boost converter, because I'm suspecting that IC there will be running at like 3.3 volts or something like that. So we've got like a really basic little boost converter on here, just to take the 1.5 volts that comes in and then step it up to what the rest of the circuit actually works from. So it's absolutely as simple and as bare minimum as you can possibly get on this thing. What I thought we'd do, just as a bit of a play, see whether we can get this working. I'm going to take off them 2 spring contacts there, and we'll connect some wires up to them. We'll see if we can actually just get it working from the battery in the actual box, and then we'll have a look and see how we're actually going to do the AV connections, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to cheat. Plug that in there like that and just cut this wire short and wire that into the connections on the back of the actual enclosure that I've made, or whether I'm going to do away with that, use some slightly better wire and just hardwire from the board straight into the AV output, the AV connectors on the back of the box. What I'll probably, in fact, what I'm going to do for now, because I'm not bothered about this cable. Like I say, it's a 2.5mm or a 3.5mm. I'd want to keep it for other purposes, but it's really cheap and nasty, and it's only 2.5mm. So I'm not mad about cutting the wire off there. In fact, I think that's what we're going to do for initial experiments. We'll snip that off there, and then we can do away with that lot. And we've got that to connect to the let me get you zoomed out so I'm not struggling quite so much with the shots. There we go, that's better. First thing I need to do, I need to get them 2 connectors off. That's the negative there, that's the positive there. And we can get some wires soldered on there that we can work with. Hopefully I've got some wire kicking around that we can actually do this with. What's that there? That might do us a good bit of wire. Oops. As I try and grab a bit of wire from across my floor and manage to knock absolutely everything everywhere, which is about right for me. Yeah, these should do nicely. Let's get some of this wire up here. Some random wire. And a bit of black as well, don't we? Just bear with me a sec, folks. I'm just got some bits of scrap wire I cut off something before. I'm just seeing if I can unpick a piece that we can use for this, because it's the right colours that I want. There we go. Perfect. So we've got a bit of black, a bit of red, we've got some yellow, some blue, got a bit of brown here as well, and I think I've got some other various colours. I've got some white there. White would be handy for the audio. In fact, we're not going to need that for the moment, because they'll all come off that one wire. Put them to one side for now. We've got a black and a red. Let's get these spring terminals off. Even nicely, it's screen printed on the back of the board there, which is the positive and which is the negative. So let's see how easy these are going to be to... That was my waste paper bin falling over. Never mind. Let's get this one. Well, they were nice and easy to desolder. Let's clear a bit of space there so we can get the wire through. Sometimes you melt the solder and just give the board a tap, especially when it's a big area like this. You can just get the solder just to literally knock out of the hole like that. Right, let's solder a couple of wires onto there. Twist that one up. In fact, we want that to be the back of the board, I think, when we've finished. So, we'll just put that wire in there and we'll solder that into position. There we go. That's a decent connection. We'll do the same with the negative. Put that through the hole there. Solder that on. Alright, there we go. So we've got our new power wires soldered on. Let's bring the box into play. You can see the back there. Hopefully you can see that. Now I was hoping to mount the board about there. Well, no, I couldn't. Can I do it that way? I could mount it like... I was trying to find where I can mount it and I can actually, if I want to use the AV connector there. In fact, for now, we can literally just lash it up. It doesn't have to be connected in prettily now, because we just want to see if this works. So I'll leave the full length of the wires on it. And use wire strippers, not your teeth like me, because you will end up breaking your teeth. Mine are already broken, so I'm not too worried. Right, let's solder this in place. Oops. Should be good. I might have to add a little bit more solder to that. It's not quite flowing, that. There we go. Try that again. I should have really probably soldered the wires on before I mounted the battery connector, but as and when, you know. There we go, that's the negative on. And the positive, I'm going to run through a switch that I've already mounted up in the box here. I will show you. If I flip that round, I've actually got a power switch mounted down there. Oops. So I can get that so I can stand it up. Make life a bit easier for now. There we go. So we need to solder onto that tab down there. My iron needs a clean. That's better. Solder that up. Okay, that's connected onto there. Then we'll pull that along, see how much we need. Snip that wire. Okay, we'll do the same with this wire. There we go. We'll tin that up and then we can solder those onto that that little switch there. And for the most part, the only things I've bought, obviously I bought the pad-80 itself and I bought that switch kit off eBay. Everything else is just either out of my junk box or it's scrap wood that came out of a, believe it or not, it actually came out of a cannabis farm, that timber. It was a house round the corner from me that someone had decided to set a cannabis farm up in the attic, and it caught fire. And when they realised, they didn't wait for the fire brigade to turn up, they did a runner. And I salvaged a load of timber when the builders come in a while later to renovate the house. Obviously it was in a bad way, it was quite a severe fire actually, fortunately no one was hurt. I had a chat with the builders and said, could I salvage some timber out of this skip, and they basically said, help yourself to as much as you want. So that kept my fire going for quite some time, and I salvaged some of the nice timber for doing little projects with. I made quite a few little shelving units and all sorts with this timber. It's probably at least 150 years old. Like I say, it was quite an old property it came from. Okay, so that's our battery connected onto the switch there. I may go back and redo these and put heat shrink on them and whatnot, but at the moment I'm just doing a bit of a mock-up really. Just getting an idea what I want the insides to actually end up looking like. So I'm not decided yet whether I'm going to get rid of that 2.5mm AV connector and just hardwire it on the board straight to the connector I've got there, or whether I'm going to do what I'm going to do for the quick test and just use the end of the lead, solder that onto here, and then use that. We shall see. And I can solder that wire on there. Yep. Third time's the charm. There we go. Not the neatest of soldering that, but like I said, it is just for this initial messing about test, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's have a look. Let's strip back this AV connector and see about soldering it up there. This wire is horrible. It's not even a screen wire, if you look. Each one's got its own conductor in it, and ground. It's not even the ground's not even used as a shielding over the cable. So that's probably why this thing gives such an awful video output. It wasn't a good video output. This thing gave. It was pretty lackluster. So probably the best way to go if I want a really nice signal out of this is, like I said, to do away with that connector there and just hardwire it. But for now, let's have a quick. Let's see which colour's which colour. Right, so the green is the video signal, the red there is the audio signal. They're going to go to the same ground point, so I might as well just, for the moment, just common the two grounds together. Because obviously, you know, they're commoned inside the wire anyway. This wire is horribly thin. I've got virtually nothing to solder to. So that's even if I can get this wire to solder it. I found some of the really cheap wires that's used. You basically can't solder the damn stuff. This doesn't seem to be twisting up to solder. We'll see. Let's see if we can get that to tin up. So if we can get it to tin up at least, let's move that to one side. Can you see what I'm doing? If I move my light there. Let's see if this wire is going to even tin. Just about. So I think we'll do away with this. Do away with this super thin wire, and just hardwire it. Take that connector off and just hardwire it straight in. I think that's probably going to be the better way to go. This stuff does not want to take I mean, it is tinning just, but it's pretty nasty. Right, let's have a look here, find out which connector's which, and we can just graph this on for now for a quick initial test of the idea. So top is AV, which is that one there, and then one of them two, so that must be ground there. So we get on one of those, I'll only just connect one of the audio sides up for now just so we can see it working. So I'm going to redo this, and I think I'm just going to hardwire it all because I don't like these connectors. But for initial testing, just to see if we can get it to actually work in the box and get something up on screen, we'll connect it up like this. Okay, we've got audio connected then, just. So this wire is horrible to solder. In fact, it's even worse than those. Do you remember them cheap earbud headphones? Try to solder the wire in them. It's very much similar to that. Bring that out, so that's our ground, so we can get to it easier. We'll solder the ground onto that one. And I'll try and bend it round. It's incredibly fiddly to try and solder this stuff. So it's like trying to solder hair. You can see there it's just trying to spring back off. All I want to do is just bend it round the terminal, and then I can maybe solder it in place. So have we got enough round there to get a connection? Because these aren't staying on, so I'm not too worried if it's perfect. I just want it to work enough for a test. There we go. Again, not ideal, but it is at least connected. The audio's come off, of course. I think that would stay on. Let's see if we can get the video to connect again. Now we'll definitely not be using this wire. Not in the proper one anyway. There we go. One thing I love about this new light I've got, I can actually bend it round so I can actually see what I'm doing. I mean, the overhead light's good, but when you want to, get inside something, I find this so much better. Right, that's on there. I've got it twisted round. If I just solder that in place for now. There we go. And let's see if we can just tack that audio back on. Not as necessary because I'm more interested to see what the video looked like. If we can do it quickly and easily now. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, literally just tacked on, but they should do at least for testing. Right. So what we need to do is we need to connect that up to there. We need to actually switch the console on. We'll try the button on the back and see if the light on the unit lights up, which it does when we switch it on and off. So let's see if we'll get you up on the screen. I'll drop you down and I'll get you up on the screen. There we go. And we'll turn off my work light so you can actually see the screen properly. I've got an AV cable here. I mean, this isn't a good AV cable, but it's still a damn sight better than that awful thing that the unit came with. Let's turn that round. And let's plug that in. That's video. And the audio. There we go. We'll switch the telly on, or the monitor. Let's switch on. Well, we haven't got audio working, but the actual thing's coming up. Obviously, we can't do anything because none of the none of the other buttons or the joystick or anything are connected. But it doesn't look great. It don't look quite as bad as it used to do when I tried it through the old AV cable. I can see a little bit of glitching here, you know, a little bit of shimmer on it, but that actually looks a damn sight better than it did. Let's see if I can get the unit. I can't actually well, I can move that down, but I can't get any of the buttons to select because I've nothing. Hang on. There we go. Let's get into something that's easy to recognise. I'm literally just shorting a screwdriver across the contacts. Hopefully getting it to... In fact, where's the little membrane that we took off? There it is. I should be able to just stick that over it and get it to work that way. There we go. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Yeah, so it's not perfect. You can still see a lot of these wavy lines on the picture, but so it's not brilliant, but believe it or not, the image actually does look very slightly better than it did. But I mean, it's Mario. You know, it does work and everything. So hopefully we can improve on that. Switch off, switch back on, and we get back to here. The only thing I haven't done yet, which I might do, is the original of the original box. The original my pad-80 actually has a reset on the back, which I haven't done yet. I might actually get a little push to brake switch or something and actually add a reset switch on the back of the unit, so you don't have to just switch it off and on to bring it back up to the menu screen like this. You can just press a little reset button on the back. But yeah, that's basically as far as I've got so far. So it's not much further than my previous video on this, but I thought I'd just give a little bit of an update. I would quite like to get this thing actually finished so I can use it. The plan is I can use it in the living room, basically, if I fancy playing some cheesy 8-bit games in the living room. I don't need to get anything out. I can just plug this straight into the TV, sit it on my knee and play Mario or whatever I want on it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. We'll do another video on this fairly soon. Or it might even be the next video, it depends what I've got coming up. Excuse me. Where we'll wire that up properly, so we'll actually get rid of that connector and we'll wire the video in straight to the AV connectors in the back, and we'll have a look at actually wiring this control, the buttons and everything up, and actually get it into a working state. And then we might have a look at doing something with this, because I was going to leave this really rustic looking and rough looking, and the more I look at it, the more I look like it's just half finished. So I might have a look at perhaps doing something more to the actual box itself and making it perhaps look a little bit nicer. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little update on the project. So thanks for watching and goodbye.